Welcome back to the universal jungle. Things are very unknown, very unexpected, and downright weird. So come on in. I do apologize for being late. I had to do my son's hair. Sharing is caring, and I do love my kids, so I had to make sure my sons were straight. Tonight we're talking about something old but still alive, something sacred but often feared. Any wild guesses? Hoodoo. Hoodoo. I didn't say voodoo. I said hoodoo. And yes, it still right down muchly exists. And if you hear background noise, that is my husband on Fortnite. He knew I was going on podcast and didn't turn TV out. And I didn't ask. But what if that candle on your grandma's table or the jar that was stuffed in the back of that cabinet or that prayer that your grandma whispered in your ear was all part of something bigger? What if? And we didn't know about it because we are miseducated, misinformed, and our truths are getting hidden day by day, day by day, month by month, year by year, generation by generation. So if you don't know about it, now you know. What is hoodoo? Hoodoo is a transitional system of African American folk magic, healing, and spiritual practices that originated among enslaved Africans in the southern United States. It is a blend of West and Central African spiritual traditions with elements of indigenous knowledge, biblical scripture, and European folklore, all reshaped through the lens of survival, resistance, and deep spiritual intuition. I cannot state that enough. Unlike voodoo, which is a type of religion and rituals, gods, and community structures, this is something totally different. Hoodoo is not a religion. It is a practice rooted in personal power and ancestral connections. And this may be boring to you, but I do want to educate. Hey, Carrie, I do want to educate people out there about the lack of power that the melanated community are being subjected away from. Our power is getting stripped more and more, and we're getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Call us Hancock. Like, we really do need the sun, and if people keep manipulating the sun, then we can't reach our full potential. We can't reach our full maturity. We can't embrace evolving, and we can't really grasp learning and why the universe is not doing what the universe is supposed to be doing, which is doing what it's supposed to be doing, but we're not the center of it anymore because other forces have pulled us away from that. Environment, society, social, all of that. Key elements of hoodoo: you got your root work, you got your spiritual protection, and you got your Bible as a spell book. Now I'm going to break them down a little bit, and you guys can interpret it. And you don't believe me, I mean, you can Google it, you can AI it, you can chat GPT it. Anything that I'm saying is public knowledge. Do your research. I love to learn, so this is why I'm out here educating. I don't call it teachings because if you knew the root word of teachings and the root word of educating, I am an educator trying to educate people that are misinformed, miseducated, or just don't hear the information altogether. But root work is the use of roots, herbs, oils, minerals, and corals like coins or nails for healing, protection, justice, and or love. Spiritual protection, it was from wearing charms to selling upwards and floor washes to keep negativity out, which we do on a daily basis. I mean, how many people mop their floors? How many people wear charms around their neck? How many people have you seen root work? I mean, we use it in modern medicine as today. We just don't call it root work. Of course, the modern medicine that most people take over the counter is not root work. We're talking about going to tribes and them actually putting herbs and shit into a bowl and crushing it up and then giving it to you, and you having a spiritual healing from it. When I specify Bible as a spell book, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I do my research. So a lot of people that I talk in the melanated community that is really dead set on the Bible being a book. It is instructions, and you have to decipher it to understand its teachings. And that being said, enslaved Africans use Psalms and scriptures not just for prayer, but a powerful spell, curses, blessings, and healings. So, I mean, like I said, some parts of the Bible I do not believe. I believe it was fabricated because it is somebody's story. And I do believe there's a lot of truths in there. It's just certain things that I read and listened to, they connected in my spiritual. So those pieces I highlighted and I took from them. All the other stuff was really good written stories. Just like every book you read out here is somebody's opinion, somebody's story, just what I'm doing right now. You got ancestral reverence, which is communication with and honoring of the ancestors is central. Their wisdom and is seen as alive and guiding. You have intentional living. Everyday acts, objects, or word can carry energy. So that's the reason why old folks used to say, be careful what you say, because when you have that tongue and you confess something, it has power behind it. So they always say, be careful what you ask for, especially when you're talking to God. In your existence, you don't speak stuff out loudly like that in the melanated community, because we were taught at a very young age your tongue has power to it. It holds power. Now, if we knew how to form words to where the power is the most effective, a lot of us would be out here like kings and queens. But because our vocabulary, our environment, our society has chopped us up and put stigmas on us, we're losing the power of our own tongue. And that I really do want y'all to understand how powerful your mouth is. I mean, not just cussing people out or yelling and screaming, but it does bring forth a lot of stuff. It's called kind of like transfer emotions. If I talk to somebody that is angry and I give them positively uplifting words, they're now happy, and now I'm miserable, and now I have to find a way to soak all of that up and reverse that negativity into a positivity. Why does hoodoo matter? It is a Black survival science. It's helped enslaved people resist spiritually heal when they were no doctors, find justice when the law was against them, and pass down coded knowledge through generations. It's a living practice passed on in whispers, kitchen tables, front porches, and dreams. I mean, how many times y'all been sat down and had Thanksgiving dinner with the family, or be in the kitchen preparing dinner with your grandma and your aunts and your moms in the melanated community, and you've heard talks just like it's a sacred type of feeling when men go to the barber shop. They don't have many of them, which in the times changed. Back then they used barbershops to hold meetings for the Black Panther community. It was a way where they could worship without being judged by those people. It was a way for them to get messages through to other melanated people. They came up with their best stuff in barbershops, believe it or not. And in our word churches, came up with some beautiful stuff. And I mean, us melanated people have been through a lot. And our ancestors been through way more, but we're still carrying the burden and their weight from the past to the future. And I just can't wait for the cycle to end and the truth is set free. It was born out of brutal trauma, as we know, of slavery, when African people were ripped from their homelands, stripped of their languages, cultures, and religions, and forced into a world that denied their humanity. But through the pain, hoodoo emerged as a way to survive physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I'm going to get more into it, to why it was pulled away from the melanated community. And it was looked at. That's why this segment, this matters. And I don't really care if nobody watches. I don't care if you're on the outside and not giving me the views. But I would say that I cannot say that I did not pass this message on. And yes, my podcasts are going to be really educational, really whatever I feel like it. And you don't like it, you ain't got to check in. But hoodoo was a survival for the melanated community, the blacks. Okay? It was a stepping stool. It allowed us to do a lot of things. How do you think Harriet Tubman did what she did? The Malcolm X's and the Martin Luthers and all those great, wonderful people. Because they had spoke their existence. They used their power, what power they still had. And they showed the rest of the world. Hey, Gabby. Hey, Valencia. They show the world how powerful they could be. It was healing without hospitals. Enslaved people used herbs, roots, rituals to heal wounds, illnesses, and emotional pain because doctors weren't treating them, or they would experiment on them, more or less. And if you know your history, how many times have Black people been experimented on? There was 400 Tuskegee airmen that were sent home with syphilis. 200 of them were treated with actual medication. The others were treated with placebos, and placebos is what? Sugar pills, fake pills, just so they could see how rapidly this disease could take out that community. Sickening. They used to test Black women in their reproductive system, their behinds, their breast. They used to take our organs and experiment and see what does what. Yeah, go back. If you need to, go back. They did these things a long time ago. Electric shock therapy, brainwashing. We call it MK Ultra. It's the same thing. Educate yourself, people. Educate yourself. It also was protection from harm. Hoodoo was used to ward off cruel overseers, negative energy, and spiritual attacks in hostile worlds. Yes, hoodoo didn't it didn't clear up everything, because if that was the case, slavery wouldn't exist. It still had to exist. It was pain for the melanated ancestors, but it had to happen. I'm not saying it in a bad way, like it had to happen, but we damn sure back then could have done something about it. It was so many of us back then. So I guess this was a subtle way of them fighting back. Not saying hoodoo solved everything for them, but this is a belief that they believe helped them get to the point where we are today, allowed us melanated people to have a voice of some sort. It may not be a big and heard like all the others, but I do believe hoodoo did pave a way for a lot of us to be who we are. These activists, these L Sharptons, and all these big people out here that made movements, and we're not being aware. Our kids are not being brought up to this information. It is being led to us to literally pass down generation information that our ancestors passed to us, their ancestors passed to them, so forth and so forth. And I see people coming in and going out, and that's cool. You either come in, you go, stay out. Stop wasting my air conditioning. For real. And I'm not talking to my kids, I'm talking to you peoples. My jungle folk. It also was a spiritual resistance. Enslaved Africans could not openly practice their religion. So they had African traditions inside Christian symbols, turning the Bible into a spell book, the Psalms into power, and everyday option to sacred tools. Connections with the ancestors. In a world where family was torn apart, hoodoo kept the ancestral line alive. It allowed the dead to guide the living. Hence, Harriet Tubman leading all these people through the dark by stars, constellations, lights. I mean, and then she wasn't the only one. She was a major part of that movement back then, but she was not the only one. Hoodoo wasn't just magic, it was medicine, it was a protest. It was a way for Black folks to hold on to power when everything was taken from them, and to this day we're still doing the same thing. We're finding solace in things that bring us back to us being grounded. It came from pain. It comes from pain. It carries strength, you know. We do have right now this quiet time. We're calling it the sit down time because it's not ready for us. We done protested. We done sat in lines and riots and got tased and maced and dog bid and swatted. And what do you think they're doing right now in Florida? Not just in Florida and California. Here in North Carolina. I've been seeing amigos go left and right. They are scared to come out their house. Y'all are just getting a taste of what we've been ancestrally dealing with for over 500-600 years. But y'all wanted this mug in the White House, who's about to create World War III. If somebody don't pew pew him, we all gonna die. There's not nobody that can run fast enough to get to a bunker before a nuclear blast pops off. I'm being real. Who gonna run that fast? Roaches can't even run that fast. But how hoodoo was demonized, especially by people. And I'm not talking about the ones that stand for us and ride with us and went through the mud with us and went through the projects and the ghettos with us. Yeah, I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about them mega people. Those people that like to wear them hoods. They go by 3 letters. 3 same letters at that. Yeah, I'm talking about those people. This is what this is talking about. Those type of people. From its origin, hoodoo was demonized by society as a way to control, suppress, and ease the spiritual power of the enslaved Africans. This demonization was intentional, political, and deeply racist. I'm talking about those type of people, those racist folk. Because, 1, the fear of black power. Those racist enslavers saw that enslaved Africans had spiritual systems that gave them strength, courage, and resistance. And it hasn't left us. It has not gone nowhere. We just shut up. Set aside because we can't get nowhere. Every time we take an inch, y'all push us back even further. So what's the point of keep fighting when we already know what's going to be the outcome? It's kind of like a duh moment. Like, why? Why would we keep pushing? I mean, make it make sense. Hoodoo was feared because it was a source of unseen power. Enslaved people used it to protect themselves, hex overseers, and spiritual fight back. That's why today voodoo and hoodoo is considered black magic. Root word black. Magic. I don't know if anybody ever put those 2 things together. It's black magic. It's black rituals. It is black power. It's not nothing negative about it. It says stuff like this in the Bible, but I think it was a way to manipulate the melanated mind to depowerize us. You know what I'm saying? To take over that control again. Something those mega people, those racist people like to do. It gave people confidence in systems meant to break them. Hey Blair. So the racist white folk, people labeled it as evil, witchcraft, or satanic to scare people away from using it. Again, what's the best way to get to a group of powerful people? If you tell them all their lives and generations after that, that they're nothing. You show them, you beat it into them. You even kill a few just to prove your point. And now we're starting to wake up. We're starting to pay attention. We are not our ancestors. We're something more dangerous. We're something to be feared. And we got a whole lot of more spiritual mouth. Again, what is a powerful thing? Your mouth is a powerful tool that you have on your body, besides the top of your fucking head and the hair that covers it. Everybody, if you don't know, get your chakras together. I'm trying to. Christian induction. Enslavers pushed Christianity to civilians, enslaved people, but twisted it to support slavery. Again, the Bible is some truths in there that you have to decipher, but majority of those stories were ways to suppress the melanated community and take their power away. If the sun gives us power, and this is proven, if the sun gives us power, us melanated people, in 3 hours, we go out, we get all the vitamins, nutrients, like a flower, which the sun is life. It gives life. So in that force, that is God. That source of sun you're seeing, that is God. He created this. He sees everything. If melanated people could go outside for 3 hours a day and get all the nutrients and vitamins that they need, then why wouldn't I strip these powerful people from them? That means I'm going to make the sun scary. I'm going to make it so they don't go out in the sun as much. I'm going to make sure they stay away from all the trees. Because what does the sun do? It photosynthesizes what? Flowers, trees. It gives off what? Carbon monoxide and oxygen. Come on, let's go back to school, y'all. So if I know that the sun is the source to their power, and the key elements around them, like the ground, the trees, the air, the earth, the water, all of that, airbenders, we're airbenders, okay? And whatever you avatar people, however you want to call it. If I know all this information, why wouldn't I take it all away and put these people in congested areas like the cities where there's nothing but fumes and toxic and it's pollution, and it fucks with our inner, and now we're going to a hospital where they give us more chemicals to alter our bodies. And if you know me, you know that I don't like taking medicine. I have 4 different medications for my heart, literally. My heart's all fucked up. I have a bad heart. And I take 1 fluid pill so that I cannot get stressed out enough and be able to function all day. All I really need to do is fast for 30 days. And my body will start healing itself. And I won't need no medication. That's why I really don't take things for headaches unless I let it get away. But then I let God do its work. I let my body do its natural process. So, again, going back to, if I know that I can strip you from all your powers and put you in these elements that are not good for your health, and put my people in areas where they're in good health, to try to replicate what is naturally given to melanated people, I'm going to do so. I really am. African spiritual practices like hoodoo were called pagan, devil worship, or unholy. And again, it goes back to what I just said. If I know that this is your power, why would I want the power? I want your power. How do I strip you from your power? But guess what? No matter how bad you strip me from my power, you're not going to get it. It's within me, stupid fucks. It's in with me. God gave this to me. To me. He gave all other melanated people their power too. He did not give power to those who are not named as a race in the Bible itself. It was the luck of draw. This is what your ancestors, y'all's ancestors did to fuck up y'all ancestry future today. Over time, even black communities were taught to fear their own ancestral practices through churches, teachers, and many still do to this day. Again, if I know I can strip you from all your power, and you need the bare minimum to gain all this power for the chosen ones, the anointed ones, the ones that God created on this earth, to be just that. I'm going to do it. Hollywood and pop culture. White filmmakers and medias turned hoodoo into horror. Zombie curses, voodoo dolls, which are not even hoodoo, all used to be black spiritual power, are now to look at it dangerous or evil. These distorted images still stick today, turning something rooted in healing and survival into something seen as dark or wrong. Something that has been taught to us all our life. Being black, being born black is wrong. Me and my husband say it all the time, like, don't cross the pole. And here goes my husband. Shit. I'd be like, husband, don't cross the pole, you're going to give us bad luck. You know what he tells me? Bitch, we were born black. We already know we're not. It's because society done beat it in the black community that we're worthless, we're weak, we're nobodies. When we're actually somebodies, we're something, we have value. We also have power. Culture eraser. Hoodoo wasn't respected as medicine or spiritual science. It was dismissed as superstition. White scholars and doctors ignored the knowledge in it even when they learned from it. Hey, Melissa, ain't that funny? Ain't that most of the inventions that were invented by black people? Hoodoo became something practiced in worshiping, whispers, holding in kitchen conversations, passed down secretly while people exploited it, commercialized it, or even mocked it. They couldn't kill the spirit, so they killed it. They called it evil. And if you know, you know. It is very hard to suppress the black community spirit. We're resilient in ways that people can't explain. Shit, we can't even explain it. So we just keep moving. We may get sprayed with a hose or two, but through all of it, we still dry off. We pick up what's left, and we keep pushing. I went through the mud. And if you know me, you know me. I've been through some shit. And I'm still here to talk about it. And I'm thankful for that. Grateful for it. Like I said, they couldn't kill the black spirit, so they called it evil. What hoodoo really is power. And the first thing it does is make you afraid of your own power. That's the control they have. That's the system that was built up to make us afraid of everything that is naturally understandable. It makes sense. When it makes sense, they don't want things to make sense. They want things to be even harder for you. If things were easy, then we would have been living in a different type of world. And that's exactly what they did to hoodoo. And it works until now. Because I'm telling you about it. All this works until now. And I hope that even right now, you may not be listening now, but you'll go back and pay attention to it. Hoodoo in today's world. It's a reawakening of the ancestral powers. Now, we've been having so many protests, and people have been saying, black people come out, black people come out, black people come out. And you've been watching on YouTube and TikToks and shit, like, you hear them saying, sit your black ass down. Oh yeah, because we're resting. And this isn't a reawakening. That's why we are spiritually resting. You don't see us out there protesting. Even this Saturday, they had a protest in California while Donald Trump had his birthday parade, and barely nobody showed up, by the way. But everybody showed up for that No King protest. And it was predominantly melanated people, but they weren't black. They were Hispanics, Latinos, whites. And you see what happened. Soon as melanated people got into that, and I'm not saying blacks, I'm saying Latinos. As soon as the Latinos showed up, there was riot gear, there was SWAT teams, there was dogs, there was mace, there was bombs, little fucking dart guns and shit like that, bro. Like, it's the reason why I'm telling you this. God put this into me to tell y'all because he wants somebody to tell y'all, like, he's here. He just wants us to get our power back. And the only way we could get our power back is to getting closer to him and asking him to give us the insight of the truth. What have we been dealing with for ancestral generations, and yet we cannot never get ahead? That's what I've been asking God. I've been asking my Father, God, and my brother, Jesus, Yahweh, however you guys want, the Creator and his Son. I asked them both, like, bro, help me. I want to be in line with the universe. I want to be in line with the sun. I want this because I feel off. I don't feel myself. I feel like there's way too many things to do and not no hours to do it in. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that. You only have time to go to work and come home and go to sleep. Like what happened to going to work, coming home, talking with your friends, going lollygagging, then coming home, or doing something with the family. Like, we don't even have time for that anymore. We spend majority of our day fucking working. A system that was built up from the day we started going to school. That's why it calls it an institution. Schools are an institution. It's an institution all the way. You're institutionalized for 12 years. And if you do good, you get instituted in a 4-year program into another institution called college. And if you do good there, you get introduced into an institution that we call a job. Some work 9 to 5, some work 7 to 5. 3 different, 4, 5, 6 different fucking shifts. And if you fuck up somewhere along the line, you go to another place. It's called an institution. But we call it jail or prison. We're institutionalized majority of our fucking life. When did we get out to be out in the sun and have freedom? It's not meant for us low income people to do. We are enslaved. And this is a way out. Hoodoo has never died. It just went underground. But today it is rising back to the surface, and more blacks are reconnecting with it as a path of healing, protection, and personal power. Reassurance. I cannot say that word. Okay? Through reconnection. Basically, it's reinsurance through reconnection. Young black folks are reclaiming hoodoo as a part of their heritage, which it should have never left. It should have never left. Not just something spooky or wrong. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and books by black spiritualists are helping people to learn the roots of the practice. It's being seen as a return, not a trend, a way to heal from generational trauma and reconnect with lost wisdom. Again, hence the reason why we're having a spiritual sit down in the melanated community. We're not trying something new. We're remembering what was ours all along. Like, should be nothing new. Yes, of course, if I know this is your power, I'm going to speak bad about it because I don't want you to have it. Because then I can study it and then I can find a way to manipulate it so it works for me in the best way possible. Hence the reason why we have been enslaved for over 600 years. And I said 600 because we're still enslaved. It's just a different type of enslavement. Yes, we have a little bit more freedoms, but that's exactly what they want you to have. Just give them a little bit. They'll be solidified and satisfied with that. Don't just give them a little bit more. It's not like you're giving them the whole thing. That's what we've been dealing with all our lives, to the point where we're just like, fuck it. We know what are we fighting for? We're not getting nowhere. We haven't. We have not. Spiritual over religion. Many black people today are moving away from traditional churches, spaces, and looking for spiritual connection that feels personal, productive, and actually fucking feels real. They're looking for an anointed person to give them that vibe, that feeling, that it feels like it's here. You know that connection. I can't speak upon it, but you know that connection. When you hear somebody speaking fucking raw truth, it just makes you tingle. I can't explain it. It's the spiritual God in you that's like, yeah, baby, soak it up. Get it. It's like that photosynthesis that we don't realize that is happening in our souls, in our body. We're getting fed something. That's why I don't go into these places they call churches, because whatever you're speaking all the time, and some pastors, they got it, but not everybody. I don't need you to speak bad upon me and everybody around me, because you're misled. When I walk into a church, it should be not what I wear, how I look. I'm coming to serve my God. I'm giving my tithes and offerings, and that does not mean cash. That means I go sacrifice a lamb and burn. Read it in the Bible. That's how you sacrifice. That's how you repent to God. And you allow him into your life and you give it all back to him because he gave it to you. That's how you repent. So I understand why a lot of people are now leaving the common traditional churches and seeking the anointed. And I mean that, the anointed. You know who those people are. You gravitate towards them. It's something godly in you that makes you gravitate towards something spiritually positive. Hoodoo offers spaces for ancestral vindication, spiritual cleansing and rituals, daily practices for peace, clarity, and protection. What we scream for every single fucking day. Modern practices and wisdoms. People use hoodoo today for protection, candles, charms, spiritual opportunity, manifestation, good God, drawings of money, love, and opportunities, cutting ties. In the black community, I know it was in my family. We talked about soul ties and spiritual ties, letting go of people. You share energy with people, especially when you start mating with these people. You have a traumatic experience with these people. You share energy, and energy is exchanged. And with this, that person, especially a man to a woman, women are absorbers, and men absorb our power. That's why after we're drained and we have to go to another female and refill. And then we go back to our man and we pour into him. And we keep pouring in because they need to be poured into. Men need to be poured into a whole lot because they cannot make it for themselves. Hence the reason why man and woman, each other is each other's half to balance each other off. So if I'm pouring into my husband and my husband is taking all of my energy, I need my daughters. I need my female friends to pour back into me, which it's not emptying in them pouring back in because we pour into each other. We really fill up each other's cups. But when you are exchanging that type of energy with somebody, a woman to a man, a man leaves their essence inside a woman. So every time a man enters you, they're leaving a piece of themselves into you. As disgusting as it sounds, it's the truth. And vice versa. That man is now feels victorious after he's done made it. You know why? Because a woman has gave all of her energy source to this man. And he's done left himself inside her. So we're double drained. So then we do our womanly rituals, which if you were trained in your tradition, womanhood, you do certain things. You get up, you clean up, da 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 da. You do those things because now you need some pouring into. But cutting ties, breaking the bad habits or toxic relationships, as I just said. Ancestral work, altars, dreams, divination. Like, we have dreams and people will say, damn, such and such came in my dream and it felt so real, da 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 da. It was real. Believe that. Some divine intervention came in, warned you about something. I was just listening to something today and it resonated with me. And I be telling people, like, God put you in situations for a reason. And he does things. And it was on YouTube, and the YouTuber basically was saying, I kept dropping stuff all morning long. I dropped my keys, picked it up. I dropped my coffee. Now I got to clean up my coffee, change my clothes, this and the third. And the person was like, they couldn't figure out why they kept dropping every fucking thing. Like, they've never had this bad butterfingers in their life. Like, why of all days today, they kept dropping shit. And in my head, I'm already saying that was God. God didn't want you to leave out the door. That's what I'm saying. As I'm saying this in my head, the YouTuber speaks and says, I sat down for a moment. Because something in my spirit just said, you know what? I'm going to sit down for a moment. When they sat down, it was like something came to them. It wasn't their time to leave out that house. Because God and his spiritual guides were protecting them, him, her, from leaving the house. Kid you not, when that person left the house, after they sat down, they stopped dropping stuff, mind you, at that. Stop dropping shit. And mind you, they kept dropping shit for about a half an hour. They weren't going to be late for work, but it was getting close to where they would have been late for work. They sat down for 5-10 minutes, got up, and proceeded out the door. As they're driving down to their job, it was a really bad car accident that person could have been involved in moments ago. So when these things happen, believe that when you see things in your dreams, listen to that. That is God trying to tell you something. When you're at the altar, know the reason why you're there and believe that what is instilled in you naturally is going to come out naturally. You're just going to find yourself doing these things because God is in you and he's showing you how to fix things and work things and talk things and He's doing that. You're not. So believe that. While the tools look modern, the wisdom is ancient. It's the same medicine passed down, just in new form. Which I didn't recognize that God has changed his teachings along the way to fit today. And I have been looking in the wrong places because those in power made me look backwards for answers that was in front of me the whole entire time. And I meant that. Like, I didn't realize that a lot of these answers, God didn't put eyes in the back of my head so I look backwards. He put them in front of me so I could keep moving forward. And it only when I'm moving forward, if I actually see the shit around me, I will see what's happening right before my eyes. And the Black community is starting to realize our strength and numbers. We ain't shit solely by ourselves. And if we keep fighting amongst ourselves what they really want us to do, divide us, because we're not strong that way. If we're divided, division is some shit. For real, for real. Hey, honey. Like I said, I just wasn't listening to my brother and my father, God, and my brother Jesus, and I do want to know their real names. Some may call him Yahweh, but who's Yahweh? Are you talking about Jesus? Because it's not the Lord. The Lord is God. He's the creator of all creators. He created his son Jesus to stand for us. So I need those kind of answers. Those are the kind of answers I'm seeking for. And I'm going to use whatever I got to do to get to that point in my life where I can get those real answers. Facing the stigma. Even with the comeback, many still feel fear or shame because of what they were taught. Hoodoo is still being judged by churches, family members, and mainstream society. But the younger generation is breaking the silence, unlearning the fear, and choosing knowledge over judgment. Thank you. For once. Hoodoo isn't something you try, it's something you remember. It is our great grandmas in the kitchen whispering prayers over our pots. It's the salt at the door. It's the Bible underneath the pillow. It's the feeling in your spirit that something bigger is with you. And in today's world where we're dealing with anxieties, traumas, chaos, we're going through roots that never stop growing. I encourage every Black family to keep the education of our history alive because it's being erased right now as we speak. I encourage you guys to keep these teachings and these things alive in our generations, and I mean that because in our school books, my kids didn't even know what the meaning of, my youngest, she's 10. It was her older siblings that told her what the meaning of Thanksgiving is. I mean, that is considered a pagan holiday, and I wonder why it's considered a pagan holiday. Make that make sense. Christmas is a pagan holiday, which it truly is because God wasn't born December 25th. It fit their narrative. It doesn't even line up right with the universe. March is supposed to be the new year, where spring begins to bud. And I know you guys heard that before. March is supposed to be the new year, the beginning of the new year. And we celebrate it when? January? December, January? No. I want to be aligned. I want to feel at peace. I don't like this. And I know if I don't like it, I know my kids don't like it, my husband don't like it, the people around me don't like it. They feel off just as much as I do. So I'm gonna have to do what I got to do to keep our history alive. My shit might get banned. Y'all might not watch. The message is still out there. Somebody's gonna come across this. Somebody's gonna share it. But like, you know what? She was onto something. Let me take a bits of her shit and let me elaborate. Let me get more in depth and details on what she was trying to say. Let me help her make it make sense to those who don't want to care to listen. Not my problem. But I want to say to my jungle family, friends, thank you, those who came in to listen, to watch. This is not, like I said, this is not about fear. It is about knowledge. We'll talk about the energy vampires in your circle next podcast. But until next time, keep your mind open and your soul grounded as well. Follow the podcast, share it, like it, and hit me up with your own stories. I would love to know what's going on in your guys' circles, in your guys' mind. I mean, this is the universal jungle, and we live this jungle life every single fucking day. So if you're not ready to rumble in the jungle, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. But deuces, love y'all. Have a wonderful day.